moms, welcome back to Mom Madness Semi 2, the March Madness show where we talk about some of the things that are maddening about motherhood besides all of the things. And today's topics are how's the baby and the time warp. For the semis are that we'll each get 3 minutes to talk about our topic, and then we will come together to discuss the topics together. And this time, just like with semi 1, we will be talking about things that were sent to us based on comments, conversations, private messages, things like that that viewers and people on our social media have sent to us that they wanted to give examples of for the topic. So the topics are how's the baby and time warp, and as normal, Melinda is pink, Angel is teal, and Melinda is going to call the coin this time.
Call in the air.
Okay, tails.
It is heads.
Right. Angel gets to go first.
I'm going to get my handy dandy
notebook. Okay. So my topic is time warp. So one of the big ones that came up multiple times in feedback that we got back regarding time warp was housework, which included things like endless laundry and trying to be able to cook a meal for your family and not being able to because you have to stop to take care of littles or bigs, and those types of interruptions that are just kind of hard being a mom. One of the other things that came up was, and I'm actually guilty of this as well, is some days, depending on how bad things are, for me at work, or if Oliver is just not feeling well, or if he's really grumpy, maybe he didn't nap well, whatever, I'm like kind of ready for him to go to bed, but then as soon as he goes to bed, I'm like, Mia, I really wish I'd had more time with him. So it's a weird thing of like, when you don't want it, it hurries, and then when you do want it, it's really, really quick. So the other one that we got was, which actually I think is something Melinda touched on, was having a whole day to do something and then it's gone before you get the opportunity to do anything on your list, and you end up feeling frustrated at the end because you didn't get anything done. And then the opposite of that being that it doesn't go fast enough. I feel that way more probably when I'm home a lot, like when we had vacation time from work, my time, I thought, I'm going to have 2 weeks of time, or not 2 weeks. I'm going to have like 5 days with my family and 5 days to spend with Oliver, and we traveled, and parts of it really drug, the parts that sucked, and then the parts that were a lot of fun just flew by, and then it was over and I had to go back to work. So one of the other good ones that we got was having time with your spouse or yourself. So those are the moments that are probably super fleeting. You've had, 6 months without a date night, and you're finally going to have time for a dinner and a movie or whatever you're going to do on your date night. And then, the kid doesn't, your kids don't go to bed like they normally do, or something comes up and you leave later, or dinner takes so long you don't get to go to the movies. So there's like a lot of things that fall into time when you're trying to make time for just yourself or time with your spouse. So, Melinda and I recently just went out and had like a girl night with each other and to go do things that we wanted to do, like dinner and go to a makeup store. And I was so focused on feeling guilty about going that I almost didn't even get to enjoy the time that we did have. And then the other ones were, for example, when the babies are crying or they're sick, or when they're older kids and they're going through something that you can't just fix on your own for them. It's one of those things where that feels like it takes forever because you just want them to feel better. And then the last thing we had in the notes was they don't reach any milestones, and then bam, tooth, bam, they're walking. And then they're in college.
Oh, time. time. And And how's the baby?
All right. Grab my notes here. So the how's the baby is a little bit more in depth than I think we originally thought when we first talked about this. In what game was it? Game 4, actually. So some of the big things that came up with how's the baby is, you did a lot to bring a baby into the world, right? And so often when you have a newborn, or even up through like the first year, they're always, how's the baby? How's the baby doing? How's she, blah, 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 all about the baby. But they don't ask, how are you feeling? How are you recovering? How are you doing today? Like, you just did a lot of work bringing a human being into the world, and people aren't asking how you are as mom. They just want to know how baby is. And then a big thing is nobody notices I've stopped caring about myself. They just continue to ask about the baby. All of these really are just examples of moms being like just so down because nobody asks them how they're feeling. So obviously everybody's asking how the baby is. So these are all just mom emotions that they feel, and makes it worse when people ask how the baby is. I'm just going to do that, and then I'll talk about them. So nobody notices I've stopped caring about me. That's really big. I definitely know some people who they are so consumed with their day, with their time with their baby and taking care of their newborn, especially if they used to work and now they're a stay-at-home mom, that they stop caring. They don't do their hair. Maybe they don't shower as often. Maybe they don't dress like they used to. They've stopped caring about themselves because it's not, the baby is more important. But then they feel like nobody misses them because nobody's asking them about how they're doing, how they're feeling. They're only asking about the baby. And they stop doing hobbies. You don't see them anymore. Moms are staying home. They're not going out. They're not doing things that they used to be able to do. And I'm not talking about like going out to the club, but like I sing in a chorus. If I all of a sudden just stopped going to my chorus, I would hope that somebody would reach out and ask me what's going on, how I am, and not just say, oh, how's the baby doing? I haven't seen you in a while, but how's the baby? And that's a big thing, is women are feeling just completely ignored because people want to know how the baby is. Is that so?
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. That's that.
Yeah.
Some of those thoughts of like how women feel when I don't think you realize it when before you have a baby, if like you just have regular conversations and it is what it is, and you're living your life and it's fine, but then maybe you don't realize people are asking how you are, or that you need people to ask how you are. Maybe you don't realize that, but then when nobody asks how you are feeling, how you are doing, how you are coping, anything like that, they just ask about the baby. And it's not a jealousy thing, by the way. I feel like some people may think that it's like, oh, well, you're just jealous that your baby's getting so much attention. But it's not that. It's that people need to be wanted. They need to be missed. They need, you know what I mean? They need to be
They don't want to feel invisible.
Yeah, it's almost like they become invisible. There was a great post that's on Facebook that I've seen multiple times. I'm pretty sure we've shared it, of the mom sitting on the bed in the hospital, just
Watching all the people.
watching everybody care about her baby and hold her baby, and she's just exhausted. And nobody cares that she's sitting there and just so sad and tired. And nobody has cared to ask how she is. You know, like you don't realize you need that until you don't have it. I think is part of what makes how's the baby so bad for a lot of moms.
Yeah, and I feel like when I was pregnant, I got asked how I was doing all the time because they want to talk about like the pregnancy and what you're doing to prepare for the baby, and they can't really ask how the baby's doing because what are you supposed to say? I mean, we heard the heartbeat again. Like there isn't any information to give, so it's like well, they ask about you instead as a way to be involved, but. And I think I touched on this the last time, but I think one of the biggest things I had to learn as the mom was, especially when Rick was keeping Oliver full time during the day, was asking him as well because he was a primary caregiver. It was one of those things where like he kept our son, and sometimes it was on very little sleep because he worked. And so I would just come in and berate him with questions about how our son was doing. And I just kind of forgot to ask. And then he went through a schedule change. And part of the reason that happened was because I finally realized there was something going on. And I was like, why are you so unhappy? But I never asked before. I always focused on Oliver. So I think there's multiple levels to that. I don't think it's just mom to mom or coworker to coworker. I think it stems past a lot of that. And I kind of felt the same way when I was going through the examples that we got for time warp, because I think what a big part of it is that I don't think we've touched on is the balancing out the time through time warps, because that's another part. It's like I was saying, like there was one night, I think we went out for Rick's birthday or something, and I had to get ready, but it took so much to get Ollie down, and he was upset because I think he knew we were leaving, and so it took longer for us to leave. And then the other thing that happens in terms of time is the emotions that come with what you're feeling during that time. So like we've got a little bit of time away that was kind of going by really quickly, but I felt so bad about not being here that it was like it also was going too slowly. So it's just interesting that that seems to have multiple levels too of what that looks like based on what you're doing.
Actually, the time went by faster after Oliver was asleep. After you knew that he was asleep, it seemed like the night just flew, even on my side of it. And I do get the opportunity to be away from Aria more, so I guess I'm more used to the idea of Mike taking care of her because of chorus. But even I noticed as soon as we knew the kids were asleep, it seemed like the rest of the night was just all of a sudden it was 10:30.
Yeah, it did get late fast. Well, and I think the other thing that happens with that though is more of like I have a lot of time away from Oliver. Yeah. I think it's more that I have too much time away from him that I feel bad if I give up time I could be having with him.
Right, and then the time that you do have, and you have other things that need to be done, and it's hard to not do them sometimes too. Yep. Even when you want to just be like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm going to spend time, and it still flies. It's craziness.
Yeah.
And it's very maddening, which is why we need your help to decide which one of these topics is more maddening. Comment down below. Let us know. If you don't want to comment on the video, send us a private message. Go to our Instagram or Facebook, even Twitter @Momestly. Follow us there. Subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video and hit the bell so that you know when the finals come out. Because we're going to be one topic from this, one topic from the previous video, and then we're going to hopefully have some more examples from you guys to talk about in that final head-to-head matchup, and see what is maddening about motherhood besides everything. But yeah, I think that's all we have for you for this game. So we will see you in the finals.